While trying to decide the best way to get to Belfast from Edinburgh, I found out that there were two ferry routes operating between Scotland and Northern Ireland. Hailing from a landlocked state in the hills, water bodies always fascinate me. So I settled for the Stena Line ferry from Cairnryan to Belfast, which would ferry me across the Irish Sea. As the frequency and duration of crossings on some routes vary, it is advisable to live search various routes for up-to-date information. To reach the ferry terminal at Cairnryan, I had to hop on a bus from Edinburgh, which took about 4 hours across various cities and towns of Scotland, most notably Glasgow. So 4 odd hours and a couple of stops later, I'm finally at the ferry terminal. That was a really long ride, but the view was fantastic. This is me. About 4 hours on the bus, a couple of hours on the ferry, and a short bus ride later, I'm finally in Belfast. Home for the next few days. This is in Belfast, right? Here I am at the Flint, which is a kind of apart hotel. So it's not really an apartment or a hotel, but it has the best of both. And these little breakfast paper bags which you can hang out at night, and next morning it will be filled with breakfast. So it's like having your own personal ferry assistants. And look at that view. This sculpture of the Salmon of Knowledge, locally known as the Big Fish, was erected in 1999 in celebration of the return of the fish to the River Lagan after over 200 years. They had previously been extinct from the river between 1750 and 1800, coinciding with a period of major population growth, industrialization, and the construction of a navigable waterway based upon the river. The Salmon of Knowledge is a creature figuring in the Fenian cycle of Irish mythology. The salmon's story figures prominently in the boyhood deeds of Fionn, which recounts the early adventures of Fionn McCumhale. According to the story, an ordinary salmon ate 9 hazelnuts that fell into the well of wisdom from 9 hazel trees that surrounded the well, thereby gaining all of the world's knowledge. The first person to eat of its flesh would in turn gain this knowledge. Fionn inadvertently gained all of this knowledge through a series of events that led him to be the one to eat this very salmon. The deep knowledge and wisdom gained from the Salmon of Knowledge allowed Fionn to become the leader of the Fianna, the famed heroes of Irish mythology. In Welsh mythology, the story of how the poet Taliesin received his wisdom follows a similar pattern. This sandstone memorial for late Prince Albert stands 113 feet tall in a mixture of French and Italian Gothic styles. It was completed in 1869 and is one of the best-known landmarks of Belfast. A very interesting thing to do in Belfast would be discovering wall murals which seem to be everywhere. I found this one really striking in particular. Don't forget to visit Muriel's Cafe Bar with its quirky underwear-themed decor for some fun cocktails and drinks. FYI, try to grab dinner before 7 p.m. if you don't want to end up eating McDonald's for dinner. The Glass of Thrones is a series of 6 giant stained glass windows depicting some of the most iconic scenes from Game of Thrones. These windows were commissioned to celebrate 10 years of filming the series in Northern Ireland and were unveiled to coincide with the final season of the show. Each window represents a different house or legacy, and the designs include the most talked about scenes from seasons 1 to 7 based on fans' online searches. These windows form a walking trail taking visitors from the city's traditional stained glass routes in the City Hall, along the Maritime Mile to Titanic Studios, the home of the show's production.
Glass of Thrones. This is one of many. I don't know how many. So far I've seen 4. So far I've seen 4. It's pretty cool. I can't say about the art, but so here is the Glass of Thrones. Daenerys. Oh, is it Daenerys? No, that's the king. So here's the thing. And there's Charlie Chaplin with a bunch of his friends. I don't know who. Alright.
The Titanic Belfast is a monument to Belfast's maritime heritage on the site of the former Harland and Wolff shipyard in the city's Titanic Quarter, where the RMS Titanic was built. It tells the stories of the Titanic, which hit an iceberg and sank during her maiden voyage in 1912, and her sister ships Olympic and Britannic. This building contains more than 12,000 square meters of floor space, mostly occupied by a series of galleries, private function rooms, community facilities, and Hickson's Point.
So,
Destination Bar
here we
added
are.
in
This is the
2018.
closest I'll ever get to the Titanic. Just right. Don't mind it. Cars here.
It is located on Queen's Island, an area of land at the entrance of Belfast Lough, which was reclaimed from the water in the mid-19th century. It was used for many years by the shipbuilders Harland and Wolff, who built huge slipways and graving docks to accommodate the simultaneous construction of the Olympic and the Titanic. It was awarded the world's leading tourism attraction award at the World Travel Awards 2016. The Titanic Visitors Center racked up an impressive 15 awards since its opening in 2012. It has also welcomed many famous visitors, including Queen Elizabeth and Hillary Clinton. So there you have it. These are all of the sites that I could squeeze into a day's worth of walking around Belfast. I hope you guys find it useful someday. Thank you so much for watching and supporting me. Till next time, ciao.